Over again, we are in Fairburn trying to figure out why drivers keep slamming into that bridge right there and what officials are doing to make sure it's still safe.
And today, students in more than a dozen school districts headed back to the classroom. Hear from school leaders about what they expect as we kick off this brand new school year.
But first tonight at 6 o'clock, we're staying on top of that breaking news out of Washington, D.C. In the last 30 minutes, former President Donald Trump has been indicted on 4 federal counts for his alleged efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election.
This is the 3rd criminal indictment against the former president. 11 Live's Zach Merchant joining us now. And Zach, you've been combing through this indictment. Georgia is mentioned several times here.
Yeah, you can take a look for yourself. This is what the indictment looks like. It's roughly 45 pages. Like you mentioned, we just got this in the last 20-30 minutes. Georgia, along with 6 other states, are mentioned in this indictment. I want to bring out the 3 big points that involve our state right now. And again, this is breaking news. We are combing through this as we speak. But here are the 3 points I want to highlight right now. First, the federal investigation alleges that there was unlawful conduct in connection, with the State Farm arena and the way ballots were allegedly being handled during the voting process during the election in 2020. That was a case we followed, we covered extensively. Another point that turns on things that allegedly happened right here in Georgia, the now famous or infamous, depending on how you see it, phone call between then President Donald Trump and Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, where the former president was recorded on tape asking the Secretary of State to, in his words, find close to 12,000 votes. The third point I just want to underscore here, there are, according to the federal indictment, there were claims that dead people voted here in Georgia. I know we covered that story as well here on 11 Alive, and the federal indictment says that that was part of unlawful conduct committed by the former president. And that is what we know out of this indictment right now. We are working through it, 45 pages, and we're going to get through as much as we can, and as soon as we have more.
And that's just a connection right here with Georgia. Obviously, there's a lot more in that indictment that you're digging through to try to find out. And we really appreciate that, Zach.
Yeah, we'll continue to follow this for you on air and online, and we'll bring you much more tonight at 11.
Absolutely. And of course, as this is continuously unfolding, as we wait to see if former President Donald Trump or his supporters could also face possible charges right here in Fulton County for election interference. 11
Alive's Joe Ripley is live at the Fulton County Courthouse for us this evening. Joe?
And within the last 15 minutes, I actually reached out to Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis's office to see how this latest federal indictment against the former president might impact the timing of proceedings here in this separate Fulton County election probe, specifically looking into alleged efforts to overturn Georgia's 2020 election results. Now, this federal indictment coming at a time when we do expect, possibly in a matter of days, charges could come down against the former president and his allies. In anticipation of that, we heard from Fulton County Sheriff Pat Labatt on the security preps underway.
If an indictment came today, we would be ready.
Fulton County Sheriff Patrick Labatt says he has the manpower and resources at his disposal should a grand jury decide to indict former President Donald Trump or his supporters. Fulton County DA Fani Willis is spearheading the investigation into their alleged roles in trying to overturn Georgia's 2020 presidential election results.
Our focus is to be proactive about really security. Our goal is to have all of the services that we normally have open and operational, but at the same time create a safe environment for those that we actually service.
Orange barricades surround the Fulton County Courthouse. 11 Alive also noticed more police in the area today, with the DA indicating possible indictments could come anytime between now and August 18th. The sheriff would not go into detail on his security plan, but said it requires keeping defendants, witnesses, jurors, judges, attorneys, and the general public in and out of the courthouse safe. Labatt noted they're investigating dozens of threats he, DA Willis, and judges have received via email, phone calls, and text messages. And if charges come against Trump or his allies related to the election, they would undergo the same treatment as anyone else.
Unless someone tells me differently, we are following our normal practices. And so it doesn't matter your status, we have mugshots ready for you.
We spoke with the sheriff about 45 days ago, one-on-one. He told me he sent deputies down to Florida as well as to New York, where the former president faced arraignments there. He says it's likely those deputies could also travel to Washington, D.C. just to learn how they will handle the proceedings as this all unfolds.
All right, Joe, thank you so much for that update here. And just in tonight, we are learning former Democratic State Senator Jen Jordan has been subpoenaed as part of this investigation. Jordan tells 11 Alive she is expected to testify before a Fulton County grand jury later this month. Now, this comes after we told you just last night that independent Atlanta journalist George Chidi was also subpoenaed sometime between August 7th and August 13th. Now, as you know, there are a lot of layers to this case, a 2-year process. We have in-depth coverage for you available on our website, 11alive.com. Right now at 6, park goers in Roswell are on edge after a 19-year-old reported she was attacked and sexually assaulted on a local trail. Now, we want to get you straight out to 11 Live's Brittany Kleinpeter, who has been in that area all afternoon. Brittany, where does this investigation stand tonight?
So far, Roswell police have not made any arrests as this hour that we know of, but they tell us this all unfolded around 8 a.m. somewhere along this trail, Riverwalk Trail in Roswell. They say a 19-year-old woman told them she was walking along the trail near Dogwood and Riverside Road when a man possibly armed with a gun wearing a surgical mask pulled her into the woods and then sexually assaulted her. People walking along the trail this afternoon tell me it stays pretty busy and is known for being safe.
People literally move here and live here for the safety. That's a main reason why people live here. So to hear this happen, I mean, it's definitely really shocking.
I just checked with Roswell police in the last hour, and they still have not released any details about that person of interest. They say they are interviewing a person of interest, though. And of course, they're asking anyone who may have information to contact them. Guys.
All right, Brittany, thank you so much. We are staying on top of this investigation for you as well. For the latest updates, follow this story on our website, 11alive.com. You can also download our 11 Alive app. It's free for you in your app store.
Well, tonight, weather changes are on the way. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb, who's been telling us about the possibility of rain and cooler temperatures on the way. So when is all this going to happen, Chris?
We're going to have to wait yet another day, really, but really we'll feel those higher rain chances here on Thursday and Friday, and those temperatures that are going to start dropping a little bit too. But you know, this map just looks hot. All the oranges and yellows on here. And right now we're still holding at 95 degrees. Our high today was 96 here in Atlanta. Most places are still holding in those 90s. A little lower in Duluth at 89. Carrollton's also 89. And then we have 87 and 88 there in Canton and also in Gainesville. Through the evening hours, it remains on the mild side. I'm thinking we're going to be in the 90s through about 7 o'clock. It should be right around 90 or 91. Then 8 o'clock, 86. In the 80s through 10. So if you're going to the Braves game tonight, just know it'll be another hot one out there. And then moving into the lower 70s here by tomorrow morning, when yet another round of students is going to be headed off to school tomorrow. We'll talk more about that school day outlook, as well as the rain chances going up and the temperatures coming down. More on that in just a few minutes.
All right, we'll see you soon, Chris. New tonight at 6, we are taking you to Fairburn, where big trucks keep crashing into this bridge right here. This is the East Broad Street Bridge, hit twice in just the past week.
Happening way too often here. And just hours ago, while the 11 Alive's Teresa Bowles was digging into why this is actually taking place, she actually watched a third truck slam into it.
And she also spoke with neighbors out there. She joins us now from Fairburn with why they say this bridge is a major concern.
So low, you can't get under it. A U-Haul truck crossed the intersection and then proceeded to get stuck.
That's because Fairburn's East Broad Street Bridge is only 10 feet high. Tierra Smith showed me what accident number 2 looked like. Jim Persley says it's keeping him in business because he's towing.
Once every month, twice a month, sometimes more.
I noticed 5 signs on each side of the bridge warning big trucks of the low clearance.
You see the flashing yellow light behind me. This is an issue that does continue to happen.
95 times to be exact. That's how many incidents Fairburn Police Chief Anthony Bazidlo says the department has on record since 2020. And it appears the signs are not working because minutes after I interviewed the chief, accident number 96. And look, here's another truck that changed its mind. To some residents, it's become a running joke.
I have big trucks. I've been in this city for over 25 years, and we've never hit the bridge. You can't educate people if they don't look up and read the signs.
But to other residents, it's a structural concern. The only thing going over the bridge are CSX trains, but with the heavy locomotives and constant collisions, residents wonder if the Fairburn Bridge is in danger of falling down. They believe signage further back could help. Bazidlo says these trucks are on the wrong side of town anyways.
3-axle vehicles are not supposed to be coming this far up 92.
And truckers could get ticketed for getting stuck, not only for driving where they aren't supposed to, but also for striking a fixed object. A spokesperson with CSX tells me while crashes could have an impact on the structure, the company inspects its bridges on a routine basis and is looking into additional signage.
Whatever we need to do to make sure that the citizens are safe, that would be helpful.
CSX tells me they've been in talks with Fairburn Police on how to better educate drivers about the clearance. So if any Fairburn residents want to talk to police about it, you can bring your kids and your ideas to their national night out until 8 p.m. tonight. I'll have info on 11alive.com. In Fairburn, Teresa Bowles, 11 Alive News.
All right, coming up tonight at 6, Atlanta police upping their reward for information in a string of arson cases. And investigators say are tied to the future site of the Atlanta Public Safety Training Center. The new details they're releasing on persons of interest.
And we're Atlanta's traffic.
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time, every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Live News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County where a neighborhood is now
where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to
and the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damage and winds, hail.
How you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead.
This severe weather is intensifying.
By knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert.
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time, every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Live News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Live News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County where a neighborhood is now
where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to
and the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11.
Charging Donald J. Trump with conspiring to defraud the United States, conspiring to disenfranchise voters, and conspiring and attempting to obstruct an official proceeding. The indictment was issued by a grand jury of citizens here in the District of Columbia, and it sets forth the crimes charged in detail. I encourage everyone to read it in full. The attack on our nation's capital on January 6th, 2021 was an unprecedented assault on the seat of American democracy. As described in the indictment, it was fueled by lies. Lies by the defendant targeted at obstructing a bedrock function of the U.S. government, the nation's process of collecting, counting, and certifying the results of the presidential election. The men and women of law enforcement who defended the U.S. Capitol on January 6th are heroes. They are patriots and they are the very best of us. They did not just defend a building or the people sheltering in it. They put their lives on the line to defend who we are as a country and as a people. They defended the very institutions and principles that define the United States. Since the attack on our Capitol, the Department of Justice has remained committed to ensuring accountability for those criminally responsible for what happened that day. This case is brought consistent with that commitment, and our investigation of other individuals continues. In this case, my office will seek a speedy trial so that our evidence can be tested in court and judged by a jury of citizens. In the meantime, I must emphasize that the indictment is only an allegation and that the defendant must be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. I would like to thank the members of the Federal Bureau of Investigation who are working on this investigation with my office, as well as the many career prosecutors and law enforcement agents from around the country who have worked on previous January 6th investigations. These women and men are public servants of the very highest order, and it is a privilege to work alongside them. Thank you.
Why didn't you charge any of the other co-conspirators in this matter?
Do you worry this gets at the election?
Are you planning to bring any other charges against more individuals?